Okay, everybody, this video will walk through our final paper for the class. So here on Blackboard, I'm going to pull it up. Paper 3, final paper. Here we go. All right. This paper is going to be a little bit different from the previous two papers. It's not going to be a lot of writing. This is more of like a reflection paper. This will be due Wednesday, December 13th on Blackboard, Microsoft Word or PDF. Format, Times New Roman, font size 12, MLA double space, everything's the same. This one's worth some big money here though, $225. This is worth a big chunk of the grade. So here's how it differentiates. For the final paper, you will take components of your previous two papers, add a paragraph or two about drama, and reflect on them and how you met some of our learning outcomes. All right, so and I'm going to walk you through how to do that at the end of this. So at the end of this sheet, I have like a outline sample. So for the final paper, you will take a paragraph from your first paper. Say you wrote it on saving sortie, you will copy and paste a paragraph, and then you will reflect on that paragraph how you met one of our learning outcomes. You will do the same for paper 2, write a paragraph after that, a reflection, and then I want you to include a new paragraph on Glaspell's trifles and reflect on how you met some of the learning outcomes on that. So here are the learning outcomes for the class. 1, display a working knowledge of the genres of fiction, poetry, and drama by writers from various cultures and historical eras. 2, identify and describe distinct characteristics of literary texts. I want you to focus on 2 and 3. MLA guidelines, the paper is already going to be in MLA guidelines. So identify and describe distinct characteristics of literary texts. That would be, a lot of you have already done that in your first paper, in your first couple of papers. That would be like, Nia's the narrator protagonist of Saving Sortie. Symbolism, structure, form, content, similes, metaphors, those type of things. What's the piano a symbol for in Sonny's Blues, right? The piano is a symbol for Sonny's maybe escape out of where he finds himself, and also as a safe spot from his addiction. So you're thinking of literary characteristics here, literary elements. And if you go to our Blackboard page, on the side here, you have elements of literature. So if you click on elements of literature, here's just a basic glossary of terms. And you could just use, any of these terms, right? Characterization, you can think of the character of Nia and Sortie, Sonny and the narrator. What point of view? We get the narrator's point of view in Sonny's Blues. We have a narrator in the Flowers, right? We don't have Myop's point of view. Setting, simile, structure, symbolism, and this walks through all that. So I want you to include some of these literary elements in your reflection. So, all right, here we'll go back to the sheet. Analyze literary works for their structure and meaning. That's just when you close read and look at parts of your essay, right? You might have a paragraph where you look at, did the narrator escape from where he was in Harlem? And you're close reading, quoting from the story and close reading that. That's your analysis of the short story for structure and meaning, right? And the paper's already going to be in MLA format. So that's what I want you to do. Your paper will be structured with introduction, with a thesis statement. You will follow right after your introduction, where we'll set up, in these short stories and poems and play, I looked at various literary elements that dealt with the American dream, etc., etc. You'll just copy a paragraph from your first paper, write a paragraph of reflection, how you met one of these learning outcomes. Copy a paragraph from your second paper, then you'll write a paragraph how you met one of these learning outcomes. You will write a final paragraph about Susan Glaspell's trifles and then do the same thing. Here's the grading format. So, introduction, clarity of thesis statement, body paragraphs, engagement with the text. You'll be including quotes. And then the big money is the reflection and the learning outcomes. So, that's the paper. You're really not writing a whole lot. The only new things you'll be writing will be your reflections on how you met the learning outcomes, how you identified characteristics and analyzed the work, and then your paragraph on Susan Glaspell's trifles. So here's how you can set up your paper. MLA format, right? Your name, my name, the class, the day. Your introduction will look like something like this. In English 1200, we have close-read short stories, poetry, and drama that engage with themes of the American dream, work, class, and various literary characteristics. You can use this if you want. You can go ahead and use this. Here, though, you will put your own words, right? You will mention the text, for example, in Sonny's Blues, I looked at this. In Facing It, I looked at this. And that'll be your intro. And here's what I want you to do. Here's my sample paragraph from the first paper, right? Just a body paragraph about saving sorority. So one of Nia's biggest struggles is who sorority dates and marries, right? So this will just be a paragraph from your first paper, and then you'll reflect. And that could go something like this. In this paragraph, I looked at how the protagonist, there we have one of our literary terms, right? Protagonist, Nia views her sister's partners, right? Etc. I incorporated, quotes from the text that highlighted Nia's struggles. And you can maybe quote from some of that stuff, right? And again, you might add, ultimately, why does Nia want to save sorority? What does Nia expect here, right? And I say this right here, right? For Nia, and here we have some of our literary elements. The American dream symbolizes, what is it? What does it symbolize to Nia? Symbolizes hard work, a fresh start, and getting what one deserves, right? And Nia thinks that. Nia thinks that if you work hard and do what's right, you'll get what you deserve. Nia thinks that sorority deserves the world, and the two guys aren't living up to that. So you'll analyze what you wrote about, and this is going to be completely up to whatever paragraph you pick. Your reflection will be about, a paragraph length, and then you'll do the second one here, right? You'll include an excerpt from your paper that looked at poetry. In Komunyaku's Facing It, the narrator, the protagonist, the speaker, what does what does facing it literally, figuratively, metaphorically symbolize? The speaker in Facing It, an African-American Vietnam veteran, is facing the wall. The wall is also a metaphor. It's everything he lost in Vietnam. He expects to find his name in letters like smoke, right? There's a flashback. You could talk about flashback. I touch the name Andrew Johnson and see the booby traps white flash. So, and then you're going to reflection. I used ideas of flashback, symbolism, metaphor for the speaker encountering the wall, right? And then you'll do the same with Glaspell's trifle. That's it. That's all you're doing for the paper. Paragraph from your first paper, a reflection how you met one of the learning outcomes or a couple learning outcomes, literary elements, analyzing, a paragraph 2 from your second paper, and then final paragraph on Glasspool's Works Cited. What I want you to do is include a works cited page for this paper. If you see, I created the works cited. So on a separate page, your works cited will go on a separate page, and whatever text you're looking at, just copy and paste them. You're not going to include all this, right? I think I included most every story and poem we have looked at this semester. So say, you looked at Baldwin, Sonny's Blues, Jericho Brown's A Young Man. You'll just get rid of the rest, right? And that'll be your works cited. Remember, you're indenting the second and subsequent lines in your works cited, but I already have it up here for you. So your works cited is going to go on a second page. And you'll use, remember, in-text citations, page number, period on the outside, and that's it. It's really, there's a few moving parts. The main component of this is your reflection. You're writing about your writing. That's the main thing, but you're not really creating a bunch of new writing for this paper. It's really you reflecting on what you have already done and how you met your learning outcomes. So that's the final paper. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Email me if you want to talk about it. And good luck on that.